Welcome back. So far, all the join queries that we have examined were all joining different tables. In this video, we'll show that sometimes joins can involve the same table multiple times. These types of joins are called self-joins. They are mainly useful when we want to associate different lines that appear in the same table. Let's see an example. Let's say that we go in the Facebook database and we want to get information about students that are majoring in computer science and in another concentration. And we want to find what are these other concentrations. How can we do that? Just to refresh your memory, here is the basic query that would start with. So we go, select star from concentrations, where concentration is equal to computer science. If we run this query, we get back the profile IDs of all the students that have declared computer science as a major. However, what we want to do is we want to find what are the other popular co-majors. In other words, what are the additional majors that computer science students also major in. Ideally, what we would like to do is for each of the students that are listed here, for example, for the profile ID 800001, we want to see what are the other concentrations that they are listing in addition to computer science. However, notice where this information is. This information is stored in other lines. So what we do next, table. And this is the key of when we need a self-join. The information that we want to fetch in the query is stored in the same table, but on different lines. So let's see how we can execute this self-join. So we're going to modify the query, and we're going to write it as follows. So we write select star from concentration C1. Notice that we are calling the concentration table C1 now, and then we're going to execute an inner join with the same table. Inner join concentration alias C2 on C1.profileID is equal to C2.profileID. Notice that we give the alias C2 to the concentration table that we added the second time in the query. Let's take a look at the result of this. We have now two concentration tables side by side, and we require the profile ID to be the same. So effectively now what this join query returns is for each student, it returns all the combinations of their declared majors. So for example, you'll see that for user 800001, who has computer science and psychology as concentrations, the join returns back all the possible combinations of these majors. Psychology, 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 computer science, psychology, and computer science. For the next user, 800002, we get all four combinations for creative writing and film and television. User 800003 has only economics as a major, so we only get economics combined with economics, and so on. You can see the remaining users. What we want to do is we want to limit the results of the join only to students that listed computer science as one of their majors. So now we go and we set where C1.concentration is equal to computer science. Notice that in this case, we need to put the table alias C1 in front of the concentration attribute in the where clause, as we have multiple concentration attributes in the join. One coming from table C1 and one coming from table C2. Now, we also want the second major to be something other than computer science, so we augment now the where part by writing and C2.concentration different than computer science. By executing this query, this is what you get. We have, for example, the student 800001 concentrating in computer science and psychology. Next student is concentrating in computer science and Hellenic studies. And notice that these columns are effectively different lines from the concentration table. So effectively the self-join brings two lines of the same table side by side as long as they share the same profile ID. Remember, that was our join condition. So what we do next is we filter with where and keep only the line combinations that we want. Computer science as the first concentration and something other than computer science in the second. In our next lesson, once we finish with joins, we are going to see how we can count how often we observe each of these concentrations. Let's see one additional example of self-joins in the IMDb database. So let's switch to IMDb, use IMDb, and we want to find movies that have a certain combination of genres. For example, movies that are listed both as comedy and drama. How can we write a query like that? Remember, the genre information is in the movie genres table. So we can try this query first. Select star from movie genres, where genre in, and then we put a list in parentheses, drama, comma, comedy, close parenthesis. What does this query return? It returns movies that are either comedy or drama. However, it will not tell us which of these movies actually have both comedy and drama listed at the same time. As you can see in the results, movies 2, 6, and 8 are just comedy. Movie 9 is just drama. Movie 11 is just comedy, and so on. Scroll down and you'll find movie 21 being a movie that has both comedy and drama. Someone might look at that and says, oh, I know what we need to do. We need to have an AND Boolean query here, right? We want both drama and comedy. Well, not really. Why is that? Because the information that we need is actually in different lines. And this is where the where conditions do not work, because they can only filter based on information that appears on the same line. So before we can filter for movies that have both comedy and drama, we need to first bring the genre combinations to be on the same line, side by side. And we need a self-join for this part. We type select star from movie genres G1, inner join movie genres G2 on G1 dot movie ID equal to G2 dot movie ID. If you run now this query, you will see that we get back all the two genre combinations for each movie, as we had done before with the majors. Of course, in our case, we are not interested in all possible combinations. We only want to have comedy and drama. So we can pick, for example, G1 genre to be drama and G2 genre to be comedy. And we add where G1.genre is drama and G2.genre is equal to comedy. We execute now and you'll see that we get back the movie IDs. Movie ID 21 has an entry for drama and has an entry for comedy. Movie ID 344 has an entry for drama and comedy, and so on. I will let you do as an exercise the join, bringing in the details from the movies table to see the additional details for these movies. A self-join is a little bit more of an advanced concept, so you may feel it is difficult to grasp at first. What you need to remember is that we use self-joins when we need to combine information that is stored in the same table but in different rows. In our next video, we are going to examine another advanced join concept, the outer joins. But until then, play around and practice. See you next time.